Call to order the meeting of the Greenwood Common Council on Monday, October the 20th. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. After the pledge, please remain standing. We'll be led in prayer this evening by Mr. Richard Stomps, an elder at Redeemer Bible Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we begin tonight by acknowledging you, the source of all wisdom and the giver of every good gift. Thank you for the blessing of this community and for the men and women who have chosen to serve the people of Greenwood. Lord, would you give each leader here humility to listen well, courage to do what's right, and wisdom to make decisions that are honorable and bring good to those that they serve. For all who are here tonight to share concerns and hopes for our cities, we're thankful. Help us to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger, so that understanding and trust can happen in this room. Father, may every discussion be marked by integrity, by patience, and by respect. And I pray that you would give unity of purpose and the common desire to see our city thrive. Bless those who work quietly behind the scenes, those who protect and care for our neighborhoods, and those who carry the weight of leadership day after day. Father, we entrust this meeting and the city to your hands. Please guide our words and shape the decisions that are made this evening. And we ask all this in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, please.
Campbell.
Here.
Gibson. Here. Bill.
Here.
Hopper.
Here.
Pat. Here. Lexi.
Here.
Manship. Here. Helm.
Here.
And Williams. Is that?
We do have a quorum. All of you should have received copies of our minutes from the last regular meeting of October 6th. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Motion by Mr. Lexi. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Moan. Any additions, deletions, or corrections?
Yes, I have something, please. I would like to recommend that the minutes be consistent because there were all of us that made remarks. They're all on there except on mine, and it says that there's a link there. And the lieutenant, he had his totally floated. So I think that either they should all have a link or whatever. And I think that we need to review the ones from last meeting as the meeting before as well.
All right. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? All right, roll call on the minutes.
I'm sorry. I would like to make a motion for the correction.
Okay, so you're moving to correct the minutes to,
For them all to either be that there's a link attached or they all be complete.
all right, does that in the future minutes or
In the ones for
the last two meetings?
meeting and yes, and the one before that.
Okay, do you have a motion to amend the minutes to include, to make them consistent with either links or full comments? Do I have a second?
I'll second it, but only as to the most recent minutes. I think that the minutes from the meeting before have already been approved by the council.
But can they not, if we find something that's in error, can we, for consistency, can we not have those be?
That would be a,
We can amend minutes. If you want to.
That have already been approved.
I believe so.
It would be from September 15th.
okay. All right, so we have a motion by Ms. Gibson, second by Mr. Lexi. For any discussion on the motion to amend the minutes from the last two meetings?
So what exactly are we asking? Yeah, which one are we doing? Are we putting a link in there to comments or are we typing it out? Like,
We can do either one, just so we're consistent.
I think we need to choose.
Which one would you prefer?
I don't care, I just want it to be consistent, so what does our attorney think?
I guess on my second, I would prefer that they be typed out if that's possible.
All right, so the,
12 pages,
Four, I think.
4.
I'm sorry, what did you say, David?
I would prefer that they go ahead and type out what you
to
said.
not include a link, but to
Right.
type them out. All right, so the motion is to amend the minutes to type out all the comments, not include links.
And that was my fault.
Yeah, that's all right.
Robert.
Okay. Any discussion?
So clarification, this is to amend both sets of minutes
Just so it's
so that
consistent.
it is all typed out and there are no links.
Correct.
And is that going to be the precedent moving forward for all minutes? That there will be no links, no hyperlinks? I just want to make sure that
We can
we're not opening an entire.
We can request that, but that's not what this motion,
It's just for these.
it's just to amend the 2 minutes, yes.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion, questions? All right, roll call on the amendment to the minutes.
Campbell,
Aye.
Gibson,
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Patch. Aye. Lexi.
Aye.
Manship.
Aye.
And Moe.
Minutes are amended on a vote of 8-0. Any further discussion on the minutes from October 6th? Hearing none, then roll call on the minutes.
Campbell,
Aye.
Gibson,
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Patch. Aye. Lexi.
Aye.
Manship.
Aye.
And Moe.
Aye.
Minutes are approved on a vote of 8-0. Reports, anything from the Corporation Council?
Happy Corporation Council.
Anything from the Controller at this time?
Not at this time.
Committee board reports, you all should receive a copy of my report from the last RDC meeting. If you have any questions, please let me know. Any other committee or board reports? Hearing none, then this opportunity for public comments. Tonight, if you're here, wish to speak to the council concerning an item that is on tonight's agenda, please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record. And as a reminder, there's a 5-minute time limit per person and a 20-minute time limit per topic.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is Tony Murray, and I serve as the president of the Professional Firefighters Union of Indiana. I am a firefighter paramedic, and I appreciate the opportunity to share some comments or remarks with you this evening. We represent over 9,000 members across the state of Indiana and 97 affiliate locals, representing about 132 agencies across the state of Indiana. Firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, and 911 dispatchers. Tonight, this body has an important task of considering the adoption of the 2026 Salary and Benefits Ordinance and also the city budget. Throughout this process, you've engaged with the fire chief, certainly, and the command staff of the fire department, as well as District Vice President Brian Johns from IFF 4252, who represents the career members of the Greenwood Fire Department. As the exclusive representative of the professional firefighters serving Greenwood, District Vice President Johns has highlighted goals deemed important, such as compensation and the reestablishment of a longevity program. There are many reasons why a form of longevity is vital for both police and firefighters, especially those who are part of the 1977 Police Officers and Firefighters Retirement and Disability Fund. Under the 1977 Fund statute, all benefits are based on individual departments' pension base, which is specifically limited to the department's identified and adopted base salary, plus up to 25 years of longevity if the department has such a program. Of course, it's crucial for police and firefighters to include a longevity program to establish a competitive pension base from which all retirement benefits in the line of duty disability and survivor benefits for line of duty deaths are calculated using the department's single adopted certified pension base, not individual earnings. While benefits are calculated based on this formula, it's also essential for departments when recruiting and retaining officers and firefighters in a region that prioritizes public safety. While it's understood that every budget has its limits, including potential changes by the legislature regarding available revenues for local units, these pressures are apparent to everyone. It is clear that the city continues to grow along with the metro region, and there is an awareness that the need for essential emergency public safety services should increase accordingly. It is acknowledged that this council has identified needs and invested in the fire department in recent budgets, and growth and service expansion will continue to require additional resources. The types and frequency of emergency responses, fire prevention efforts, and expanded services to meet the needs of the city and its visitors will continue to develop. The men and women of the Greenwood Fire Department are dedicated and proud professionals whose primary mission is to be highly trained, properly equipped, and adequately staffed to take on risks, handle emergencies and disasters, and save lives. In return for performing these vital and often dangerous tasks, placing themselves between threats and strangers they protect, they rightfully have an interest in the opportunity to earn a competitive wage, benefits, and secure retirement. I understand that these are all priorities for this community and this council. To more effectively and efficiently meet these needs, I propose that this council consider adopting a bargaining ordinance so that the professionals delivering these critical services can share their perspectives on what it takes to respond to emergencies and develop solutions to stay strong in recruiting and retaining the best in this profession, which citizens depend on so heavily. The most effective organizations achieve this through a formal process that fosters the exchange of information between labor and management, leading to better decisions about emergency response, safety, wages, and benefits. The concern for these needs is clear, as many department members are present here this evening. It's not just about money. It's because they care deeply about this community and for their families. Having an open conversation about priorities and their compensation is important to everyone. By considering the implementation of a bargaining ordinance, this body can utilize the existing framework to develop a process where current labor management practices evolve to include essential discussions on priorities for all.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you. I will wrap up. Thank you, Mr. President. This would result in a more effective and functional process for the department, the city, and the professional firefighters who serve. This proven best practice can address the needs of a growing fire department by establishing both short-term and long-term strategies through a formal process. I look forward to the opportunity to assist the leadership of Greenwood firefighters. I have Local 4252, and I appreciate your time. I'll stand for questions if you have.
Thank you, Mr. Ritter. Anyone else?
Good evening, Greenwood Council. My name is Brent Roswell, and I'm a member of Local 4252, and a district trustee for Greenwood. I'm here to speak on behalf of the men and women of the Greenwood Fire Department. Longevity has been a topic of discussion for years now. In a recent meeting, someone asked, why can't we just move someone to another position? Here's why. Experience matters. Longevity isn't about time alone. It's about skill, training, and leadership that cannot simply be swapped out. Bring back to this discussion, I've reviewed the past 5 months, 153 days of the department's overtime. One position was the engineer position. The engineer requires a state certification and specialized training in emergency driving and pump operations. They get the water from the truck to the hose. It's a critical role. This position needed 71 days coverage. Another position was the officer or ride-out officer. These leaders are responsible for making sure calls run safely and effectively. They're also the ones training our members every day. To be a ride-out officer, you need 5 state certifications, including engineer, safety officer, fire officer strategy and tactics, officer 1, and instructor 1. This position needed 52 days covered. We also needed coverage for 7 firefighter shifts and 7 battalion chief shifts. If our members hadn't stepped up 34 days in the past 5 months, we would have had 2 or more apparatuses out of service, leaving only 2 out of 4 fire engines ready to respond for emergencies. This is why longevity matters. It's not just about a name on a roster. It's about being qualified, capable, and ready. I'm going to speak on the importance of longevity even more and why it's critical to ensure a high retention base for our fire department. It's not just about numbers on a page. It's about dignity, security, and respect for a lifetime of service. My father gave 32 years of his life to this department in this city. He worked multiple jobs to support our family. He trained new recruits, rescued people from car accidents, crawled into fires, and received a life-saving award with his crew. His body paid the price for that dedication. but the cost of insurance is not affordable for our retirees because of how low our pension base is compared to local departments. We talk a lot about valuing service, but how are we showing that? What message are we sending to those who served Greenwood for decades? So I leave you with this. What do you believe our worth is? It's not just the worth of our fire department, but the worth of the entire city of Greenwood and those who give their lives to serve it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Garfield.
I would like to start by saying, like I have many other times, I'm Brian Johns, Greenwood District Vice President of Local 4252. Lieutenant Johns has never addressed this council, and I've never represented my rank in these chambers. I would also like to address Councilwoman Gibson's misleading and cherry-picking speech towards me and the members that stand behind me here tonight from the council meeting on October 6th. I have and will continue to state facts and truths up here and will not stoop to your level of personal attacks on my integrity and character. I will, however, set the record straight. First off, thank you for bringing up the top earners last year in the city, because you just solidified my arguments. Ms. Gibson, you failed to mention the fire department was 14 people short last year. So you are correct. The top earners were firefighters last year because we are dedicated and committed to Greenwood and the citizens we took an oath and swore to serve and protect. Had we not worked the overtime, you would have had fire engines out of service many, many times. And quite frankly, this should concern everyone up there as you live in the city. If you have a fire engine out of service and another truck comes from across town, that could mean 5 to 7 minutes longer. Do you know how long the human brain can go without oxygen? It's 4 to 6 minutes. If you or your loved one was lying there on the floor in cardiac arrest, I would hope you, the city administration, the citizens we serve would expect us to be there within that time frame. This is the entire reason we have been in front of you this year and have been trying to get the city administration to fix our certified salary. We can no longer afford to be short-staffed due to losing senior tenured firefighters to other departments. You specifically called out my salary last year. First off, you're welcome for my dedication and commitment to the city I grew up in. I sure as hell wasn't chasing a dollar last year, as I didn't even start working overtime until May because I already made more money on my days off, but our department needed the help. For you to try to demonize and make us sound ungrateful after all the money we earned working overtime is deplorable of you. We did what every fireman does. We stepped up, did what's right, and made sure our citizens didn't know we were short-staffed. None of us asked to work this overtime. The city asked us to miss family events, ball games, holidays, and in my case, most nights at home with my wife. What you failed to mention, Ms. Gibson, was we never went over the 100 category or asked for any special appropriations because we didn't go over on salaries. We worked within the budget provided due to the shortage of staff. What you also failed to mention was I wasn't given that money last year. I worked 4,577 hours to earn that pay. If you were to do the math, that's an average of 125 hours a week for 7 months. You do realize there's only 168 hours in a week. If that's not dedication and commitment to the city, Mayor, I'm not sure what is. So how dare you try to hang your speech on how ungrateful and greedy we are and try to make us look like we're not thankful for the opportunities here. What we're trying to tell you is the revolving door is spinning faster and faster. The more stations you build, the more apparatus you buy, you're compounding this problem. You're right. I did fail to mention some of this because I was hoping to not throw the city administration under the bus because this is truly on them. They have known about Greenwood Fire not being competitive for quite some time. Mayor Myers recognized the pay shortfall in 2012, and here we are 13 years later still discussing it. What's even worse is now knowing we have $27 million in the bank, but keep being told there's no money for raises. You should all remember last year being told we just couldn't do the 8 or 9% raise because the money's just not there. Then how do you explain a $4 million increase in the rainy day fund just last year? You are being misled, deceived, and lied to, or you have known this information all along. The numbers don't lie and the data is correct. The same thing we've been telling you since September 15th. We are appealing to you, the council, to ask questions. Do your job as elected officials and do what's right for the citizens that put you in those seats. Every city employee should be outraged with the city's administration. It's disappointing how I tried to get on the agenda so we can have an actual discussion of what we are truly looking at when it comes to longevity. The city controller and even you, Ms. Gibson, got as much time as you liked the last meeting to try to build a narrative to fit your message. Any of you that sat in on meet and defer this year only know what was originally presented. Take a look closely at that packet in front of you. It shows a lot of concessions on our part and the unwillingness of the city administration to consider any of it.
You have 1 minute.
All we can do is throw facts at you as quickly as we can to try to get it all in under 5 minutes. I will say it again. You'll never convince me that the money's not there for what we are proposing this year. Look at the budget sheet. I do, however, know you'll introduce two more proposals or resolutions tonight regarding bonds for more projects over people in the city. Mr. Wright, please quit trying to educate us on municipal budgets. We understand how money has to be allocated, so no matter how you try to spin your words in your PowerPoints, at the end of the day, it's the citizens' tax dollars that are being used for the budget. I would also like to add from Mr. Wright's presentation at the last council meeting, I would not have used the rescue as a good example of what they have provided for us. That truck was purchased in 2018 and used for 5 years and has been out of service sitting in my bay at Station 93 collecting dust for the last 2 years. Do the taxpayers know how much money was wasted on that item that we should be thankful for? That money would have been better spent on longevity and could have funded it for quite a few years. Again, we are asking for you to vote this proposed budget down until we get honest answers from the city on the true numbers in the budget for 2026. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Tyler Garinger, local vice president, Johnson County Professional Firefighters, local 4252. In regards to the 2026 proposed budget, I'd like to speak a couple things. Please bear with me, I crossed a lot of things out. I intended to come in here kind of hot and heavy. I thought about that a lot today. I don't think that benefits any of us. I don't think this has been enjoyable for anybody in this room. I don't think any of us really want to be here. As local vice president, I have been entrusted by my membership to represent them in not only the good times, but especially during the difficult times. As you all of the council have been entrusted to represent the residents of Greenwood. As elected officials, I believe that makes you leaders in our community. Willing to step up and lead, knowing decisions you make may be difficult and not well received. I know a lot of those decisions are made and discussed in closed door meetings, not in a public forum. And that's okay. But there have been concerns presented with supporting facts and numbers in regards to retaining experienced firefighters and why that should be a priority for the betterment of Greenwood. It seems to me that our concerns may be falling on deaf ears. We have asked the council for their due diligence by asking questions to be better informed for their vote. I've only heard questions from Councilwoman Koch. I've also heard negative statements made towards our members belittling their commitment to work overtime to ensure trucks are in service instead of working a second job elsewhere. As Councilwoman Gibson suggested they can do with their days off from working 48 to 72 hours a week on their forced overtime schedule. If the council is concerned with the amount of overtime paid out, I ask you to work with us to implement a collective bargaining agreement and also better understand staffing needs to better serve Greenwood citizens. The health and safety of our firefighters and reduction of the overtime spending burden on taxpayers. Kind of where it gets crossed out and all that, so bear with me. My next concern lies with other leaders in this room. In regards to the department heads that have yet to stand up and advocate for their people. As much as they may want to stand up for their people and just say they believe they deserve more or help us present facts, I believe there's a bigger issue at the top of the city. I believe there's a culture problem to where those department heads feel they are unable or even ordered not to stand up for their people. Why aren't they encouraged? I believe they should be. I believe that's the burden of being a leader, standing up when things are difficult, a little tough. Confidence in leadership is also essential to retain quality individuals and sustain positive morale. Sadly, that confidence is dwindling. Lack of communication does not instill much confidence, and I ask we work together to improve that working relationship. Department heads, mayor, council, members, we should all be working together. I have one quote that I've thought about a lot today. I want to say this respectfully. I do not mean this disrespectfully. But to Chief Rochelle, Chief Eisen, other department heads, Mayor Myers, There is no greater act of cowardice than a leader that refuses to fight for the wrongs of the people. I ask that you listen to that and consider that for the future.
You have 1 minute.
With that, I would like to thank council members Kosh, Williams, and Hill for their continued support for city employees. I ask the rest of the council to be the leaders you were elected to be. Reject this budget until all city employees are shown the appreciation they deserve. And please continue to work with Local 4252 to improve Greenwood firefighter pay, benefits, health and safety to ensure a safer, better Greenwood. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the council on this topic or another topic? Seeing none, moving on, ordinances and resolutions. Notice of intent to consider ordinance number 2527.
An ordinance to amend the official zoning map adopted by reference in Unified Development Ordinance 2029. Proposed rezoning of approximately 0.8 acres located at 141 East County Line Road, sponsored by Lexi.
Thank you. My name is Andy German, Erdem Engineering LLC, 13520 Shacamac, Carmel, Indiana. I'm glad to be participating tonight. I do thank you for your time. I know it's got a lot more important things here today than what I'm bringing forward, so we'll make it short. So I want to thank you for hearing us. I just have a really quick little presentation just to show you what this is, what this rezoning is about. And if I can just jump into it, I'll try to get down as quick as possible. Start with this at 141 East County Line Road. It consists of the old lots of 1 and 2 in the McCrary subdivision. It's 0.8 acres. It was zoned, zoned currently RM for single family. We're asking that it be rezoned to RA for a attached single family or a duplex situation. And the reason is it's just to meet the needs of home ownership to make it more accessible. So these are still, in my mind, fairly high priced homes, but it does open up another category in this area for people to purchase a home and raise a family. So at that point, it froze. Good. Okay. So the proposed conditions that you see right here is for the RA zoning. It matches the adjacent zoning to the east, which is currently RA. There are duplexes on the back piece. The rest of it to the west and the south is RM zoning. There is a piece in that subdivision to go further east that's a commercial zone, but that is quite a few lots away. So the adjoiners are RA and RM. So we're looking at duplexes for this site. The units would be about 1,600 square feet living space, 400 square feet garage. So nice size units. The ones along working with planning, they asked that we have the units out by County Line Road facing County Line Road, so which is an excellent choice. It really gives better face to that area. So those will be facing that way. We don't know of any variances that are needed at this time. So there might be some that pop up as we go through this process, future readings and through the plat process. But I don't know of any that exist right now. We did hear some remonstration as we went through the last vacation process. I think we've addressed those issues. We're glad to hear from those people again, work with them to solve any of those issues. One of the issues during that was actually the talk about traffic on the County Line roads. The people were worried that it was increasing, and it does have a small increase, but it still maintains the classification. It does not change the level of service of that road by any means. So it's an arterial, it will not change the level of service. It also reduces the number of conflicts. From an engineering standpoint, as we look at this, we look at crossing conflicts, crossover conflicts. We're going from 2 drives to 1 drive. So that does help that. The drainage will meet all the ordinances. It will be on the south side. There is a ditch on the south side, and it will drain to that as it currently does. And the drives will be private, do not require any city maintenance. You'll see here, the proposed duplex are kind of more contemporary style. They've got some nice units, some nice features on them. They've got brick veneers, they've got metal roof accents, hardy plank siding. They're like we talked about, 1,600 square feet with a 400 square foot garage. So overall, we separated the entries as well to make them more of an independent unit look to that. As far as compatibility and conformity, requesting the RA zoning conforms to the property to the east as well. So we don't see it as spot zoning, we see it as a continuation of zoning in that area. We are talking about 4 duplexes, residential character, conforms the existing character of the neighborhood. We're not going with a completely different style or anything like that. So we're keeping it to 2 stories. We're not going 3 stories. We're keeping it at lower level. So like we talked about before, it really conforms to what the city's trying to accomplish elsewhere as well, and that's to offer a wide variety of housing types throughout Greenwood. So this gives it one more piece in the area for homeowners to come in and make it affordable for them. Talk about the decrease in the number of access points, doesn't decrease the level of service rate, which is met, development standards will be met, landscaping, and we'll even work with buffering if there's any decisions that some people want some buffering on the west and on the south side as well. So, and that's really all I have. I do thank you for your time. I really thank planning as well and all the city agencies that have worked with us. They've been fantastic. So.
All right, thank you. Before we go any further, I believe I need a motion. I think we took a motion on this. So we still need a motion first. We have a motion by Ms. Gibson. Do I have a second? Mr. Hopper? All right. Mr. Nelson, do you have something to say?
I sure do. So planning is supportive of this request, which you may have seen in the staff report. Essentially, it's a 8-unit, what would be operated almost like a condominium. They have private streets, they have private parking, so all that would be an expense that the developer or the association would take forward. This is developing the corner lot at County Line Road and Sherman Drive. It's been a vacant lot at that corner for as far back as I can tell. Found no record in Beacon of that lot ever being developed, so I think it'd be nice to get some utilization out of the vacant lot that's been there for quite some time. The other house that is built there was built in 1966, so I do think this will revitalize this corner lot area, and like the petitioner said, provide a different style of housing. Let's see, utilities are in place. The road is County Line Road that this is accessing. That is controlled by the city of Indianapolis, so this wouldn't be putting any additional burden onto Greenwood Road. With that, there really isn't much of a additional burden. An 8-unit development is pretty small and really does not move the needle on traffic, and our engineering division had no concerns with that. Like you mentioned, we do have a condition or a commitment in here for this to be reduced to 1 access point, reduces the number of conflicts there. They've also agreed to put in multi-use trail along their frontages and a few other commitments that we have provided. Recently, we had an MBO study on housing. It does show that we are in a housing shortage in Johnson County and really across the Indianapolis area. This would definitely be a way to infill an already developed area of Greenwood with some housing. That's all I have. And here, if you have any questions.
I have one quick question, just to confirm the 5 conditions that were listed in staff report, those are included in the ordinance, is that correct?
They were, I saw that they were included. That is to meet our building design standards, which we've not had concerns. They appear to be using masonry and hardy plank on all their elevations. And we're working with them so that the building fronts will not include any garage doors. That will actually, front County Line Road, it will look like a front elevation of a home without a garage. And then in the private access road, that's where the garages would be located. Single curb cut, garages shall not front county line or Sherman Drive, multi-use trail. And the petitioner shall collaborate with Indianapolis, to establish a safe crossing at the traffic light of County Line Road to connect the trail on the north side. Greenwood, as I mentioned, doesn't have jurisdiction over County Line Road, but they would have to coordinate with Indianapolis.
All right, any questions,
Yes.
comments, or discussion?
I have some for Mr. Nelson, please. I was at the planning commission meeting, I think it was, and someone that was representing this group said that they would be glad to meet with the residents over there, and I think the residents were confused by not understanding the plans, because in some places it was 4 units, in some places they were talking about 8 units. So, and then there was a comment in there that they would be houses that would be sold, but then someone else made a comment that they might rent them. And I know the homeowners along there would much rather have homes that were sold, so I didn't know if that wound up in commitment or not.
And this is just from my communications with the petitioner. These are being sold as owner occupied, just like someone might owner occupy a home and then decide to rent that single family home out. I suppose unless there are some covenants in their HOA, that could potentially be an option. But they are intending to sell these as owner occupied units. There are 4 buildings, but 8 units. So that might have been the confusion with the 4 versus 8. And I do believe it's being maintained kind of as a condominium association. So from my understanding, talking with the petitioner, all the yard and landscaping would be maintained by the HOA, and it won't be the individual unit's responsibility for mowing and maintenance.
And I think you saying that the owner occupied, that was another question that they had. I think it would be nice if they could meet maybe with the homeowners in that immediate area and them to understand better, because some of them didn't get the notice and then others were confused by it. What do you foresee the cost of these being, and what is the square footage?
So the square footage is about 16,000 square feet. I believe that for reference to the.
You mean 1,600?
1,600 square feet, sorry. Yeah, 1,600 square feet. As far as price point, that's not something that goes into planning's recommendation or consideration. I suppose if
I just wondered
if
if
the
they had any
petitioner
idea
here
what
is
they were thinking
comfortable
it might be.
throwing out a number, I know the market changes, but if they're comfortable, I'll let them respond to that, but that is not something that we would look at in our zone.
Yeah, once again, the units are owner occupied, they are for sale units. Currently, the current sales price in the Greenwood area is at about $165 a square foot. You know, that's gonna put you somewhere in the $330,000, $350,000 range. So that gives you an idea of what these units would appraise for and what they could sell.
Thank you so much.
And I would put it out there, I think I was the one that made that comment, that I would be glad to meet with them, still.
I just think that they would be so restless if they really felt like they understood it. There were so many things that they couldn't figure out, the sizes and all of it. And
I think
it's a
we
lot
make
of older people.
We make engineering plans that way for a reason, right? I think sometimes, but I think overall, yeah, I'd be more than happy to explain the plans, to tell them what we're trying to accomplish in that area, show them how it works. There were concerns before about drainage. You know, this is actually probably one of the cleaner drainage sites because of where the drainage currently exists on the site. We'll show them access points. I could go through all that if they'd like to give me their names, or if I can get the names from.
Or I think we could even make space to let you meet here and you not have to worry about finding a space even.
That would be tremendous. So I'll make myself available.
I'll try to get one of them to give us a list.
Yeah.
If that would be okay. Thank you for your help.
And very quickly, if I may add to that, they will still need to primary plat this site, and that's where a lot of the engineered details, and this is, again, a zone map change, so we're looking at the land use. The engineered details really start to take shape during the primary plat, and that also has a public hearing where the public would be able to come out. But if you have any names, definitely for them to get in touch now, we prefer that.
I think that would just make it easier
Exactly.
to get it smooth and.
Yeah, we encourage all of our applicants to meet even before the public hearing, with the neighbors, so that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Hearing none, then roll call, ordinance 2527.
Gibson.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash. Aye. Lexi.
Aye.
Manship.
Aye.
Mo.
Aye. Ordinance 2527 passes 8-0. Thank you. All right, first reading, ordinance 2526.
An ordinance to establish a designated outdoor refreshment area in the city of Greenwood, Indiana, sponsored by Hill.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lexi, second by
Second.
Ms. Cash. Any discussion on the council? All right, hearing none, roll call, ordinance 2526.
Bill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash. Aye. Lexi.
Aye.
Manship.
Aye.
Mo.
Aye.
Campbell.
Nay.
And Gibson.
Aye.
Ordinance 2526 passes first reading 7-1. Resolution 2516.
A resolution of the Greenwood Common Council waiving noncompliance of Visionware LLC regarding its failure to timely file its application for deduction from assessed valuation of structures in economic revitalization areas in compliance with statement of benefits, sponsored by Campbell and Gibson.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lexi, second. Second by Mr. Moan or Hopper. Mr. Hopper, let's go with that. This is scheduled for a public hearing. Open up for a public hearing. If you're here, wish to speak for or against resolution 2516, please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Browning, Vision Quest Eye Care. Our address is 2887 South State Road 135. And I appreciate everybody taking the time to hear us. Bottom line is we had a bookkeeper that moved on to greener pastures, and on a day-to-day basis, I'm busy taking care of patients and slipping cracks. So our new accounting team brought it to our attention. So I'm here to grovel for mercy.
All right, any questions for him? All right, thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak for or against resolution 2516? Hearing none, close the public hearing. Any discussion on the council? Hearing none, then roll call, resolution 2516, first reading.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash. Aye. Lexi.
Aye.
Manship.
Aye.
Mo.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
And Hill.
Resolution 2516 passes first reading 8-0. Resolution 2517.
A resolution of the Greenwood Common Council approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between Greenwood and Whiteland regarding certain road improvements on South Anderson Avenue, sponsored by Campbell and Gibson.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Ms. Gibson, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Cash. Any discussion on the council? Hearing none, then roll call, resolution 2517, first reading.
Cash. Aye. Lexi.
Aye.
Manship. Aye. Mo.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
And Hopper.
Aye.
Resolution 2517 passes first reading 8-0. Second reading, ordinance 2519.
An ordinance for appropriation and tax rates for the 2026 budget year, sponsored by Gibson.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lexi, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Just so everybody on the council knows, following the vote on this, I'll be passing around budget form number 4. Each of you will need to mark whether you voted aye or nay, and then sign your name. This has to be submitted and we need to sign this tonight. Once we vote, I will start it that direction, then you could send it back this direction, or send it down there, all right? Mr. Wright.
Chris, would you bring up the one, 2026? I do want to clarify something. The rainy day fund did not grow by $4 million last year. The total balance in the rainy day fund is $2.7 million. It was up $180,000 due to our investment interest. Now, our cash reserves did grow because we do tend to budget to a worst case scenario, and then if we underspend the budget, we may end up with cash reserves growing. For those who've been on council for a while, you probably are well aware that when this administration came in, the cash reserves were nil. That's not a great place to start from. We have made a concerted effort every year to build that up so that we have enough to operate on in between our tax draws and to operate in worst case scenarios. So I do want to just lay out that our budget policy has always been to try and only budget the revenues we have coming in for that year for operating, so that we know we can support those expenditures moving forward. I'm going to move fairly quickly through these because they were part of the last presentation. Just reiterating, we are going up to 86 full-time firefighters. We have grown the budgets pretty significantly. Again, the budget has grown. We've tried to put in line the firefighters at the fire department. Again, 2024 was a big year of overtime because of the short staffing. However, we did add a rather large recruiting class, so hopefully that will not recur. Again, based on 2024, the average compensation for Greenwood versus where it was mentioned that people may go to. I do want to talk about longevity. It is an important discussion to have. The city ended the longevity program in 2013. So anyone hired after December 31, 2013 no longer got longevity. That old program, though, the amount on it does still continue to hit the pension base for public safety, because as long as there is at least one employee still on payroll in those departments receiving that longevity benefit, it does still benefit that pension base. It does create ongoing and increasing expenses for the city. Another thing to consider as we look at the pension system as a whole, this year the employer contribution for PERF for public safety goes up to 23.3% of the first class salary. Last year it was 21%. The year before that it was 20%. The year before that, it was 19, so it is growing significantly. I would posit that the longevity systems in play are contributing to that, because as those are used to boost pension bases, it does push up everybody's required contribution. That 23% for us is 23% times 86 for the 86 firefighters. So whatever changes are made to that pension base, we do have a much larger cost to the city that we have to find funding for. That is why, looking big picture long term, we did not feel longevity was the way to go for trying to grow the salaries for anybody in a year that we have uncertain revenues and know that the following year will get even worse. So on the what happens next, the budget passes, it gets submitted to DLGF, they send us a preliminary budget. We either approve that or make changes, and then we send it back to them and they let us know that it's been final approved. If no budget is passed, statutorily,
there is not time to do a new budget because it does have to be adopted and submitted to the state by November 1st. That includes having public hearings, that includes having notices in the paper, so we don't have time to do a whole new version. What happens then is we revert to the 2025 budgets and levies. So we don't get the 4% growth factor, so our losses will be larger. Additionally, the increases that are in the salary ordinance currently cannot be funded, and therefore the ordinance specifies that no increase in compensation shall be effective until the city budget tax rate and tax levy for 2026 has been fixed. So if we don't pass a budget, then we don't get the new salary level, so nobody gets anything next year. It can be made up through the additional appropriation process as far as the spending, but we cannot make up the loss of those funds in the revenue side because we will be restricted basically to what we did in 2025. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware and on the same page.
Any questions for Mr. Wright? Any discussion on the council?
I have some discussion, please. I had a couple of calls in the last 2 weeks about the city had promised the firefighters that you would get the food and beverage tax. However, due to the state specifying only 5 allowable uses, and it did not include public safety. So at that point of time, it would include our parks and recreation. So we took the money from food and beverage, we gave it to parks. Parks then didn't need money, additional money from the city. And so then that money came to you firefighters. So I just wanted to be sure that you were aware of that. Over the past 13 years, the mayor and council have made substantial investments in the Greenwood Fire Department as documented by Controller Greg Wright. These efforts have significantly improved the department's financial situation. The number of firefighters has increased substantially, growing from 34 in 2012 to 58 in 2020 and reaching 85 in 2024. The increase in the number of firefighters demonstrates the mayor and city council's ongoing commitment of strengthening the department's financial plans. Plans are underway and construction has started on Station 95, scheduled for completion in 2026. Station 93 and 94 are the newest of our stations, and once Station 95 is in service, the attention will focus on replacing Station 92. Station 92 is the oldest station that has not been updated. At the time that Station 92 was built, we were a volunteer fire department. Despite challenges related to compensation and benefits, it's important to recognize the city's continued commitment to the Greenwood Fire Department. Ongoing dialogue between firefighters, department leadership, and city officials remains critical in addressing critical concerns, fostering retention, and ensuring competitive pay and benefits for our firefighters. Strategic planning and budgetary prioritization continue to be a stumbling block in moving forward to balance the needs of not only the fire and police, but also remaining city departments and residents alike. The city has replaced several aging fire engines and ladder trucks in the recent years. The ongoing investments have equipped the department with vital resources and updated equipment, including defibrillators, tornado sirens, squad and staff vehicles, and several new engines. In total, the defibrillators, total sirens, and those items were in the amount of $30,173,256.58. These actions clearly demonstrate a long-term commitment of supporting the fire department, while continuing substantial relief and resources to ensure the department's effectiveness. There is no doubt the fire department has had their share of growth, such as firehouses, equipment, vehicles, and salaries. The stumbling block of contention seems to be a group of firefighters insisting on having raises more than any other department in the city. Our city departments have not complained about the large amounts of local income tax that have been transferred to the fire department. At the same time, our departments have given up annual projects which would have helped to find improvements in their department. However, when they continue to hear firefighters say they are more at risk and danger than anyone else in the city, it causes them to wonder why fire is not satisfying. The financial growth in staffing, the growth in the fire department's operating revenue has exceeded the rate of property tax growth over the years. Financial progress has enabled the department to expand staffing levels and invest. This would not have been able to have kept pace with the staffing and equipment needs as effectively, nor respond to emerging challenges. The city's sustained investments ensure GFD is both well-staffed and properly equipped to protect firefighters as they serve the community. Transparency and financial information. There appears to be reluctance among some individuals to request copies of the financial information as presented at the October 6th meeting. This is something that we're not trying to keep things from you. We're really trying to show you the numbers and let you know that we are interested in your welfare, but we also have to look at the entire city. Understanding the context and history of these expenditures is important. Those who are unsure about the spending situation in 2012 are encouraged to consult longtime residents or employees of the street department who offer insight into the past conditions of vehicles and resources. Additional fact sheets are available, providing further clarity for those detailed information about the city's financial decisions. It is regrettable that some individuals may feel caught in the middle of these discussions between the city and the firefighters. Firefighter separations. In 2024, and there is no name associated with these, there were 2 firefighters that transferred to IFD, and there was one to White River. There was 1 volunteer that left. There was 1 person that retired after 24 years of service, and there was 1 that retired after 33 years of service. There was 3 others that gave personal reasons, and the summary was 9 that left in 2024, but only 3 of those were transfers. In 2025, up through October the 14th, there was 1 other retirement, 1 that transferred to IFD, 1 for personal reasons, and that's a total of 3. So we're talking about 4 people. Is it true that 4 people are several? The lieutenant mentioned Carmel Fire is hiring 24 lateral transfers in the upcoming year. Firefighters transferred to Carmel can begin at 3rd year pay, which in 2026 is about $2,000 less than Greenwood's pay. However, after 2 years, their compensation could exceed Greenwood's by $27,000, with additional benefits such as a 50% 401k match and a certified salary of $118,722 in 2026. It's been stated over and over by certain Greenwood Local 4252 officers that better pay and benefits elsewhere will entice officers and high-ranking individuals to leave Greenwood Fire, despite their desire to stay. We have heard these same statements for at least 2 years. Yet, looking at the separations for 2024 and 2025, there were only 2 transfers to IFD, 1 to White River. in 2024 and one to Indianapolis in 2025. In recent council meetings, Lieutenant John stated that firefighters were in the 64th percentile for pay statewide in 2012, but are in the 28th percentile in 2025. He expressed pay and benefits have not kept pace over the past 2 decades. Despite increases in the pay schedule since 2012, the city must also support 86 fire pensions and pay expenses for 5 firehouses, plus 82 police pensions, while balancing the needs of the entire city. There are limits to what can be provided to satisfy all requests. It's hard to understand how the higher ranked officers would support pay cuts by transferring, but if that's what makes you happy, we accept that. Lateral transfers and salary data. According to the controller, not all 5 firefighters are eligible for lateral transfers. Approximately 40% would not qualify based on their tenure. For every 3 years of experience, the receiving department grants 1 year of credit. First-class firefighters in Greenwood earned approximately $103,000 compared to $87,000 in Barkersville. In Greenwood, 31 firefighters earned over $100,000. 17 exceeded $110,000. 9 exceeded $120,000. 4 surpassed $140,000, and 1 was just pennies under $150,000. Leaving Greenwood for Indianapolis would result in actual earning decrease even for those seeking a busier department. Greenwood has made the decision to invest in growing the number of firefighters to ensure proper coverage. This has also been the recommendation of each of the fire chiefs during this administration. Healthcare and community concern. We've heard what you said about the cost going up, but while the concern about healthcare costs are valid, many families, seniors, and retired residents in the city face similar challenges. Our city has chosen to be self-insured. Health insurance coverage and increased costs happen every year. There have been 2 options. Number 1, shift more cost to employees, but the city has intentionally kept that at 10%. Or 2, reduce coverage levels, which may seem fine to younger employees. However, is there a preterm birth, fewer than 37 weeks gestation, as opposed to full-term delivery, 40 weeks. Parents could be overwhelmed by the extensive amount of long-term bills. Some preemies may have been slightly over 1 pound and required many months for their small bodies to develop, or may have even required various surgeries before reaching the criteria for them to safely go home. Older employees or family members with major health issues may also create major financial issues. Several city employees have expressed their appreciation for the city coverage to remain at the higher level. Employees have attested how important the extended coverage was during a crucial time of illness. Not having to worry about major medical bills allows our employees to concentrate on getting the best treatment and being there to support the family member going through such difficult situations. Certain employees or family members may have chronic issues that require monthly prescriptions, generating high costs that is covered by their family coverage. We tend not to think the what ifs until something major happens in our families. If insurance coverage does not cover the high cost, then it would be individual members' responsibility to find a way to cover those expenses. City directly pays insurance claims, which means you don't have to come up with major expenses of the overall increased bill. Rising costs for medical coverage, medicine, rent, and car insurance also affects many citizens in our city, especially those on fixed incomes with limited Social Security increases. There are families in our community which have resorted to consolidating households to manage expenses. The clinic in the city center is accessible and allows parents to set an appointment, then pick up their child at day school or at daycare or school, which allows them to only take a few hours instead of a half day. Recruitment and overtime. Despite a handful of departures to other departments, Greenwood Fire continues to be successful in recruiting new firefighters, with over 200 applicants in the most recent hiring process. Nonetheless, some residents have raised questions regarding the amount of time accumulated by the more senior firefighters and how this overtime is distributed within the department. Greenwood's 2024 overtime incurred some overtime due to training classes of more than 20 new recruits, which will not reoccur in 2026 due to reaching full staffing levels. Current overtime system is based on seniority, which is increasing overtime costs and higher ranking officers get most of the overtime. Savings on OT could potentially be lower if younger or newer staff is offered overtime. These same firefighters would also benefit from additional experiences. Another item for consideration in lieu of captains or lieutenants working the overtime or a shift which they receive the boss salary is much higher wage. However, with the current overtime being given to higher ranking officers, often working in place of a first-class firefighter, especially in lieutenant or captain position, it would seem more appropriate for it to be the lower level firefighter, which would require not only their salary and not that of a higher level firefighter, plus gaining extra knowledge and experience. I've got a sheet, I will leave it up here, but it tells you the amount of money that has been spent since 2012 on stations. It will show you the number of engines that have been purchased, and it will show you the equipment tours. This list alone from 2012 to now is $30,173,256.58. And we also have given two nice sums of money from the local income tax. And never once have the other departments complained about that. But I think that we all need to be one family.
Any other comments on the council?
Yep.
Yes.
So our prayer tonight called for us to be bold and do what we feel is right. This is only my third budget meeting, so I am pretty new at this, but I don't feel the same. I feel like growing the department is part of our job and our responsibility as we continue to allow new housing to come in, allow for more tax abatements for other businesses to come in, which are all great. They all grow our city. But with that growth comes the responsibility of apparatus and staffing for our department. I don't think that their salaries should come as an expense to that. So in all good conscience, I cannot go for this budget.
I have some comments also.
Yes.
Mr. President. Folks, first, let me thank all of you for showing up here and sitting through this marathon. This is a great part of our civic process, and I further appreciate the impassioned discussions about your craft. I really appreciate that. But when I began this year's budget process with the Meet and Confer group a number of months ago, one of the commitments that I gave to that group and to this body and to the citizens of Greenwood is that I would dive into the budget and understand the budget. I would go through it line by line, and I would understand where the money is going and what the idea behind our budget is. And so I believe that as council men and women, we are encumbered to do three things regarding the budget. Number one is to provide a balanced, fiscally responsible budget across all city departments. Okay, I think that's a major part of what we do. I think our budget needs to consider present and future income and expenditures. And I believe that our budget needs to be in line with our community goals and values. So those to me, I believe, are foundational in this body passing this budget. And so the commitment I made to the folks that I sat across from that are brave members of our public safety was that I will look at this whole budget. I will look at it, and I have done that. I have looked through the entire budget. I have looked through the fact that we are down about 4.7 million, and I think that everybody can agree that can be a devastating number to a budget. It represents about 6.73% of our overall operating budget. And having been part of 12 school budget processes, and I know that that's a baby compared to this guy on steroids, but I know that in school talk, when schools lose 6.73, people are losing their jobs. That's plain and simple. So you lose 4.7 million this year and 7+ million potentially next year, then cuts have to be made. And here's where my commitment lies. I went through every budget. I went through every single budget, and I looked at how are we making that kind of cut? Where is it happening? And I'm not going to go through every single budget, but I can categorize into four groups. There's the aviation department, our capital projects, which is all the city projects that we do that include roads, infrastructure, firehouses, police stations, community centers, workout areas, all of the infrastructure we use. That's what capital projects are for. The general government, which includes every single department, not mentioned specifically, Board of Works, the clerk, the community development, city council, finance department, fleet maintenance, HR, IT, legal department, mayor's office, rainy day fund, RDC, court and probation, debt service, parks and rec, roads and streets, and utilities. I think I got them all. So all of those are included in what is considered the general budget and the general government budget. And then the fourth sector is public safety. And this is how our budget shakes out. And I'm not here to refute or rebut any comments from any person. I'm just giving you the facts. These are the facts, because that was the commitment I made to you. Our aviation budget is being cut by 24.5%. Our capital project budget is being cut by 9.7%. Our general government budget is being cut by 4.1%. And that not everything in there is cut. Full disclosure, if you go on the website, you can get in to the line item parts of this budget. But there are some that are going up, like the Economic Development Income Tax Fund, the EDIT fund, I believe is how we pronounce. That's going up 6.8%, primarily to support. That's the countywide tax fund that supports general fund budgets, and that money gets kind of dispersed. That had to go up. HR went down 4.2, IT's going down 9.1, Parks and Rec is going down 10.9%, utilities down 8.1%, stormwater down 5.9%. There is one that's going up substantially because, debt service is going down 16.9. I'm trying not to be windy here. The Board of Works budget's going up 3.95 to cover increased insurance premiums and increases in FICA and PERF across the city. Okay, so I think the important thing that we have to realize, and then the fourth major part of that is public safety, which due to demands of our public is because that is a budget that's going up 2.7%. That's the operation budget, okay? And so the point I want to make with our budget in general is a 6.7% decrease in budget requires this body and those that create the budget to make hard decisions. And when I look into this budget and I look across the lines, there are groups that are taking it on the chin. There are groups that are having to slash their budget by a quarter. But the thing that I also noticed about this budget is nobody's losing their job, and everybody's getting a little bit of a raise, right? So that's, I mean, again, this is my comments are not to refute or rebut anything. This is what I see in the budget for my commitment to you, to everybody in this community. So with that being said about our budget, I'm gonna get to the end here. But so when you look at a budget like this, it is a hard budget to pass. When you look at next year's budget, it's going to become even more difficult to pass. I have a brother that was a policeman for 20 years. I have a mom that was the chief secretary for 25 years, was a dispatcher, and was the head of the records department at the police department. And the guys that sat in meet and confer across from me or around that table with me know that I asked this question, what about, because they put forth a lot of work and a lot of effort into a plan. And you can't discount that. But one of the questions I asked when that was presented about the 20% longevity budget was, what about the police? Why aren't the police getting this longevity? And there were a variety of answers, but one of which, full disclosure, was we've been told not to ask for it. And that is what it is, okay? But this is what I want to say about longevity, and I'm going to wrap this up. I am 100% for 100%, and if it could be more than 100%, if I weren't an accountant, I would say more than 100%, but since I'm an accountant, that's what I'd go with. For bringing back longevity, not just for firemen, but for policemen and potentially for the rest of the city in some form. But I cannot, in good conscience, with this budget cut. Now, understand that we found some money to make that happen, but it also included foregoing that 1% raise to get longevity back on the books. That's a great plan because you're thinking on your feet, and I think that is an opportunity. But why not do it in a year that we can do it and do it right, where we can bring longevity back for the police and bring longevity back for the fire and have some version, because we know that for those two groups that are running in to places where everybody else is running away from, we can agree that it impacts their retirement. And the rest of the city can have another form of that because it doesn't necessarily impact their pension. And so with the uncertainty of this year and next year, and I'm going to wrap up right now, one of the things that I keep telling people is I can't make certain promises, not saying certain promises, but promises of certainty in an uncertain time. And so that is, I committed to you that I would go through this budget and understand it, and I do. I think I'm for those things, but this is not the year that happens. And I know that, I mean, boo or whatever, but I've hopefully done my due diligence and made a decision based on these facts, based on the facts of what I've seen in this budget. So that's what I want to say.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, then roll call. Ordinance 2519, second reading.
Lexi.
Aye.
Manship.
Aye.
Moan.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson. Aye. Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash. Yay. That's everyone.
All right, ordinance 2519 passes second reading 6-2. I will pass this around. And you mark your vote and sign that, get it back to me, I would appreciate it. Ordinance number 2520.
An ordinance fixing salaries of appointed officers and employees of the city of Greenwood and city utilities for the year 2026, sponsored by Gibson.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gibson, second. Second by Mr. Lexi. Any discussion? Hearing none, then roll call. Ordinance 2520, second reading.
Manship. Aye. Moan.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Nay.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash. Nay. And Lexi.
Aye.
Ordinance 2520 passes second reading 6-2. Ordinance 2521.
An ordinance fixing the salary of the city judge of the city of Greenwood for the year 2026, sponsored by Gibson.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gibson, second. Second by Mr. Lexi. Just a note for the record, just a reminder that all elected officials are getting no pay raise for 2026. Any discussion, ordinance 2521? Roll call, second reading, ordinance 2521.
Moan.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
And Manship.
Ordinance 2521 passes second reading 8-0. Ordinance 2522.
An ordinance fixing the salary of the common council of the city of Greenwood for the year 2026, sponsored by Gibson.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gibson, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lexi. Any discussion? Hearing none, then roll call. Ordinance 2522, second reading.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Manship.
Aye.
And Moan.
Ordinance 2522, was that right? Passes second reading 8-0. Ordinance 2523.
An ordinance fixing the salary of the mayor of the city of Greenwood for the year 2026.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gibson, second. Second by Mr. Lexi. Any discussion? Hearing none, then roll call. Ordinance 2523, second reading.
Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Manship. Aye. Moan.
Aye.
And Campbell.
Aye. Ordinance 2523 passes second reading 8-0. Ordinance 2524.
An ordinance fixing the salary of the clerk of the city of Greenwood for the year 2026.
Do you have a motion? Motion by Mr. Hopper, second by Ms. Gibson. Any discussion? Hearing none, then roll call. Ordinance 2524, second reading.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Manship. Aye. Moan.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
And Gibson.
Aye.
Ordinance 2524 passes second reading 8-0. Ordinance 2525.
An ordinance amending Greenwood Municipal Code as amended, Chapter 2, Article 8, Section 2-68, to increase the number of holidays celebrated to 12 and delete 7.5-hour holiday compensation, sponsored by Gibson.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gibson, second. Second by Mr. Lexi. Any discussion? Hearing none, then roll call. Ordinance 2525.
Hopper.
Aye.
Cash.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Manship. Aye. Moan.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
And Hill.
Ordinance 2525 passes second reading 8-0. Resolution 2515.
A resolution establishing holidays for the employees of the city of Greenwood for the year 2026.
Have a motion
So moved.
by Ms. Gibson, second
Second.
by Mr. Lexi. Any discussion? Hearing none, then roll call. Resolution 2515, second reading.
Cash.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Manship. Aye. Moan.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
And Hopper.
Aye.
Ordinance, or resolution 2515 passes second reading 8-0. New business, introduction to new ordinances, resolutions. Resolution 2518.
A resolution of the City of Greenwood Common Council making a preliminary determination to issue bonds, sponsored by Gibson.
Right.
Evening once again. Christie, if I could bring up another presentation. So, as we have in the past, we are looking at doing some GeoBonds again this year. However, we're doing it in a little bit of a different process, mostly driven by the changes under Senate Enrolled Act 1. I'll kind of discuss how that works. We're going through what's called a controlled project process. And what that means is that we do have to have additional public hearings. We do have to publish some additional data, but the control projects are governed under statute IC 6-1.120. It can be any project financed by bonds or lease payable by property tax. Under changes from SCA 1, this falls under a control project if the debt service tax rate overall will exceed 25 cents per $100 of assessed value. If it's going to fall between 25 cents and 40 cents, you have to have a petition and remonstrance period. So this issuance would have such a period after potentially being adopted. There would be a 30-day window for remonstrance. That is new compared to what we've done in the past. If the total projected debt service were to go above 40 cents, which ours will not, it would cause you to need a ballot referendum. One thing that is good about this type of project is you can issue the debt over multiple smaller bonds, providing the ability to time the issuance of those bonds with the project costs rather than issuing all at once and waiting for the project to start up or waiting for delays and ended up paying more interest. The resolutions and ordinance that will be before you are specifically focused on several projects. The first being the Smith Valley Bridge reconstruction and widening. So this is the bridge that goes over the railroad tracks there by Craig Park. The county is going to be doing reconstruction on the bridge that is currently there. What we are looking at doing is having an alternate bid issued to widen that bridge and make it 4 lanes and do that construction at the same time. But if we do that, we will have to fund the additional 2 lanes. So that's the first project we're looking at funding for this. The next project, Smith Valley Road Section 1. This is the stretch between US 31 and the new Woodman Boulevard roundabout, widening that. This has funding approved by the Metropolitan Planning Organization, so we do have a matching portion. That is an 80-20 grant, so we would have to fund the 20%. We would be looking to use these bonds towards that. We're also applying for MPO funding to do the stretch from Grassy Creek to the bridge. That will be broken up into 2 separate projects. The idea being that we would then have 4 lanes from Main Street all the way through to the New Yorktown or New Ayrton roundabout there. So then we just have the stretch between that roundabout and 135 to complete, which will be further out in the future. We also are looking at the phase 3 and 4 reconstruction of Main Street. That's the stretch between Polk and Airport Boulevard to include a roundabout at Airport. And then, as discussed earlier, Station 92 is in dire need of replacement. We would be looking at starting the design process on that. There is some costs associated with that, and then we would be looking to fund that project via the bond issue as well. The reasons for using control projects, number one, as I mentioned, the timing. We generally have issued these bonds just at year end, and whenever the projects are ready, we have the funds on hand. What we could do with some of these then is issue mid-year, issue at a later point so we pay less interest on them. One other thing with SCA 1, it did create a cooling off period. So when you issue a bond of under 5 years, you have to take a year off from the bond issuance to have this cooling off period. The problem that creates is if you're funding projects year after year with the bonds, you also have to take a year off from actually accomplishing those projects. So what we would be doing with the control project is it does eliminate the cooling off period restriction. Because of the additional public hearings and the remonstrance, it takes out that restriction. Our bond issues would be based on trying to keep our tax rate level, so we would then be able to spread out whether it is a 1-year bond, a 5-year bond, a 10-year bond. The actual ordinance allows for up to 15 years, depending on what we need. Our intent is for the first bond issue, the repayment structure could be no more than $8 million based on the adopted budget. So that would then fund the Smith Valley Bridge project that we discussed. If the projects, these are all, right now estimates based on engineering estimates. If for some reason they're going to go over the bond issuance amount, we would have to come back to council to ask for additional bonding capacity. If the project were to be delayed or canceled, no bond gets issued, no tax rate is levied.
All right, any questions? All right, ordinance 2528.
An ordinance of the city of Greenwood authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds for the purpose of providing funds to pay for certain capital expenditures, projects, and incidental expenses in connection therewith, and appropriating the proceeds of bonds to such purposes to finance capital projects sponsored by Gibson.
Mr. Wright, I assume that everything you just said applies to this?
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you. Resolution 2519.
A resolution of the Greenwood Common Council waiving non-compliance of Realty Income Properties LLC regarding its failure to timely file its application for deduction from assessed valuation of structures and economic revitalization areas in compliance with the statement of benefits sponsored by Campbell and Gibson.
Is there anybody here to speak to this?
John Boyle here. Good evening, council members.
All right.
My name is John Boyle, excuse me, representing Realty Income Corporation and the property Sarnova Medical Supply Company located at 1033 Collins Road. I'm here today to respectfully request the reinstatement of the original tax abatement for this property. The original compliance required to maintain the abatement was inadvertently missed during a real estate acquisition transaction. At the time of the purchase, we were not aware of the abatement's existing requirements, and this oversight was completely unintentional. Since discovering the issue, we have worked diligently with all relevant local jurisdiction stakeholders to provide all necessary documentation and ensure full compliance with the program's requirements. We have submitted the relevant records to the city and maintain committed to meeting all obligations moving forward. We lastly greatly value the city of Greenwood's support for commercial real estate owners and respectfully ask council to reinstate the original tax abatement so that the property can continue to benefit from the intended incentive. Thank you. Thank you for your consideration.
All right, you do understand that this is the introduction, there'll be no vote tonight. It's a public hearing on November 3rd and the first reading that night.
Sure.
All right, thank you. All right, miscellaneous business. This is the second opportunity for members of the public to address the council, this time concerning items that are not on tonight's agenda. If you'd like to do so, please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record. And again, there's a 5-minute time limit per person, 20-minute time limit per topic. All right, seeing none. Other miscellaneous business, Corporation Council. We have one, CF1. Anybody have a question about this one?
We still have one more reading to officially
approve that,
but I think it was unanimous.
Yeah, it was.
I'll find it.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Hopper, second by Mr. Lexi. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? It is approved unanimously. Conflicts of interest.
Britt Wilkinson for his wife, Amy Wilkerson. Amy Wilkerson for her husband, Britt Wilkerson.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have to do these separately? No, thanks. All right, we have a motion to approve these. Motion, Mr. Hopper, second. Second, Mr. Lexi. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Those are approved unanimously. All right. Anything else from the council? Any other miscellaneous business from Corporation Council?
Yes, we have a walk-on. We had a zoning change for some property involving 11.5 acres located on the east side of State Road 135, south of Demery Road. And the zoning changed it from apartments to single-family residential. It's left a problem that you have 3 commitments that don't make a lot of sense if it's going to be a single-family residential, including limiting buildings to 2 stories, flock cameras, and providing a apartment to a Greenwood police officer. And I'm requesting that you vacate those commitments.
All right, still sound good.
Seeing was that the first time that it includes multi.
So
They're now gonna build a residential large.
Right.
Yeah.
do we have a motion?
I'll move the waiver.
Motion, Mr. Hopper, second by Ms. Gibson, to remove those commitments. Roll call on that motion.
What is this reference? What ordinance?
It's a motion to remove, what's the ordinance number?
Ordinance 24-04.
Thank you.
Okay, remove the commitments on ordinance 2404.
Lexi,
Aye.
Manship. Aye. Vote.
Aye.
Yes, excuse me, Campbell,
Aye.
Gibson. Aye. Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
And Heck. Aye.
Motion passes 8-0. Anything else for the Corporation Council?
Nothing.
Anything more from the controller at this time? Mr. Mayor? We are adjourned.
Okay, that's one thing.
Okay, Mr. Lexi was correct, that was 12 pages with this notes. Okay, well, I can see. Yeah.